Hello and good day to you all again. Um, this is Captain Happy, and I am going to be taking another crack at this audio recording thing. Um, I pulled the first video. I did not realize how bad the white noise was on the audio track, and hopefully I figured it out this time. What I'm presenting is, at the risk of redundancy, it's another Kitakaze ranked battle. Now this one is a little bit different, a little bit special, at least for me. I had a great amount of success. I have gone bottom to top this season in ranked with the Kitakaze, and have done really, really well so far. I made it to rank 5 and had only about 8 losses, and only 2 or 3 of those I wasn't top of the team, so it was a very, very strong run. And in the midst of talking about this with a clanmate of mine, and talking about some of the methods, some of the techniques, I mean, obviously a lot of it is luck. A lot of it is the team that you get put on and their relative performances. But immediately after having that conversation, I proceeded to go 1-6, and was not at any point top of the team, and actually had a good 4 or 5 of those, if I'm being honest, where it was pretty boneheaded plays on my part that not only caused my early exit from the match, but contributed largely to my team losing, and so I kind of hit a dry spell. Upon telling my clanmate about this was the first battle I had after telling him about that. And if you read in the title, it is a pretty good one. Now, I performed really well, but there's a fair amount to be said for the enemy team not performing the greatest. So, let's get to the battle itself. I have heard some criticism from teammates before of something like what you're seeing now, where 2 DDs go to the same buff. Now, for one thing, one of my, I guess, keys to success, being that this season in ranked, is arms race, especially for destroyers. Getting that heal buff is significant. Not only is the impact significant on the destroyer class more heavily than most of the other classes, but you get 3 times the buff by actually getting the cap yourself. So there's legitimate criticism to be had for both destroyers going to one place, or both, or multiple, whatever the case is. At the same time, if both those destroyers end up playing the rest of the match properly, it can be a really significant element in winning. So here, first off, you see the enemy Kitakaze pop up, and he is right in the face of our Fletcher. Our Fletcher immediately pops smoke, which in my opinion was a smart move, and frankly I was a little surprised that the enemy Kitakaze did not. And he has no idea that I'm here, and hello! And there is the first blood. Now, as you can see, with the fireworks, I am running Yamamoto as my captain. He's really strong captain to have on any IJN ship, but I found it particularly strong in destroyers, as not only, I guess the turret traverse buff in the captain perks, that's especially on the gunboat line, but certainly the protection for your modules, and in particular, it's not uncommon to get the first blood, or the kraken, for that matter, and being that it gives you what it does, I find it extremely valuable, especially in combination with all the other buffs you can get in arms race here. So the enemy Yagumo pops up, and you can see the enemy has gone very heavily to the west. So immediately, as soon as the Yagumo popped up, not only did I start focusing him, but I started heading in that direction. My intent at this point was to hunt him down, track him down. I'm the gunboat, you are not. And he was at a point in his HP pool where I felt pretty confident if we both happened upon each other. And also, I can throw some torps at the enemy BBs here on the west side. Another very high priority, besides the remaining enemy DD, is the enemy Missouri, for the reason you see right now. It is their one and only radar ship. So getting rid of him would be very, very beneficial. So I come to this side and start focusing all I have on him, throw some torps his way. Also, right next to me is our Missouri, and I'm hoping, or I was hoping at the time, that he would pop his radar, which he does momentarily here, and it makes the enemy Gumo visible. And what you will see is immediately, once that happens, my guns turn to him to finish him off. Eliminating, that's a nice solid torp hit. There's the Yagumo. Eliminating both enemy DDs in this match would give us quite a substantial advantage. So as soon as the Yagumo goes down, and not that salvo, there we go. Immediately once he's done, that's my cue to pop my smoke and continue trying to set fires and do some damage to this Missouri. Again, getting rid of him would be very relevant for me. Start setting some fires, start burning him down. He's going down pretty quickly, thankfully, so his radar will not be a further threat while I'm sitting here in my smoke. And I kind of make a little bit of a miscalculation here. As you can see, I'm kind of backing into my smoke further, and I'm trying to keep an eye on both my torpedo reload and the reload booster. Now, in the last plume of smoke that I had enough time to sit and have both sets of torps come back online. That's what I wanted to do, but the mistake I made here is I'm in my middle bloom, and it doesn't look like my torps, well, when I had a quick glance, I didn't think my torps were going to come back up, in combination with this Izumo getting pretty close. So I didn't know if my detection would go up anyway. So I immediately popped my reload booster, and seeing that he's turning as hard as he is, that should work. Start targeting what limited superstructure there is to try and set some fires, but that will become a moot point as I land 4 torps? Yes. And there's my devastating strike and high caliber for the match. So really, so far so good, pretty strong. I notice here the enemy Musashi is his guns are facing the wrong way, so I feel completely free to pop out of my smoke and openly fire out in the open. The enemy battleship in the background, the Lion, could be aiming at me or may eventually, but I'm a little less concerned with that, being that he's at the range he's at. So I just continue to maneuver and openly fire on this Musashi, and at this point, the match seems pretty well in hand, and so I'll fully admit and concede that I had my eyeballs set on a potential kraken here. So I really wanted to try and set some fires and do whatever I could to the remaining ships. Now, keep in mind, and I've only got the corner of my eye on him, but the Lion is heading seemingly as though he's going to steam around this island. Oh, and there, I take a big hit from him. Unfortunately, I immediately repair it because I know he's only got 1 salvo that he can hit me with. But he knocked out my torpedoes, which means all I will have, if he does continue around this corner, is the 1 set from my reload. Getting close. Musashi, Kraken, maybe, and Can I get the last shells? No, I cannot. Simultaneously, I was reversing to give myself a shot, an angle with my torpedoes, but the lion decides, the match is pretty much decided, but he decides to not continue and steam around the island, which, relatively speaking, was probably a smart choice. Unfortunately for me, it puts him in a position that is not or less than ideal for me to torp him. So I decide to turn and go around the island this way, and hopefully he'll continue his turn and maybe come back towards me. But if not, I can pop around, throw the torps out, and continue firing, and hopefully get some work done that way. Now, if you look here, I notice he's heading right towards the map border, and the speed penalty that occurs when you hit it means his ship is most likely going to slow down pretty dramatically. So I decide to open fire with the guns here and hold onto the torps until I get a better idea of exactly what his maneuvering is going to be like. He indeed does hit the map border, and almost immediately you can see the indicator starting to drop. So I send those torps pretty far back, and then continue right on firing, because I don't even know if there's enough time for my torps to make it. But we will see, and hey, I get a lucky salvo and the Kraken unleashed. So that was a very nice turnaround to have as far as having the bad run that I did. I hope that this match was a little bit informative and at the very least entertaining for you. And I hope all of you have a good day. This is Captain Happy, signing off.